Senator Lindsey Graham was on Fox last night. This just to change the subject completely, but on the South Carolina tip here. He made this accusation about President Biden's border policies. Take a listen.
The next time you hear the word felon in this election, I think the felon in this election is Joe Biden. What he's doing to the country is criminal. The crime in this election cycle is the crime of Joe Biden against the American people. What happened to Trump in New York was a bunch of BS.
What do you think?
I mean, Joe Biden has not been convicted or charged with a felony, so I'm a little confused where he's coming from. Also, the FBI put out stats not too long ago that the crime rate's actually going down, so I'm very confused what he's talking about. But I think this is just a way to more muddy the waters. But Joe Biden is not a felon, has never been charged with a felony, so it's just more murking the waters for Donald Trump.
I want to play this because this is some of the mental gymnastics that we're beginning to see about Trump's conviction, his felony conviction, being called a convicted felon now. Listen, Lindsey Graham earlier on Fox. Take a listen to this.
So the next time you hear the word felon in this election, I think the felon in this election is Joe Biden. What he's doing to the country is criminal.
Felon in this election is Joe Biden.
The polls are coming back now. Polls that had time for people to talk to.
Am I up too late?
No.
It's late right now, so I'm just, is it the sleep deprivation?
I mean, it's only 11:14.
It's only 11:14.
That's not too bad.
It's milk and cookies time for me, but I'm just, what?
You're starting to see
Really?
this have an effect. That's why they're trying to do all of this jujitsu to try to say, oh, it ain't that bad. Don't look over here, look over there like they always do, because the numbers don't lie, and the numbers are starting to move, and they're starting to move after the felony convictions, and they're upset over there on aisle red.
Yeah, the
That's
numbers,
some Bruce Lee enter the
numbers,
dragon stuff.
The numbers are moving. It's still early. I still think that there are several issues that President Biden is still struggling on. He's still struggling to shore up his base. Now, granted, we're 5 months ahead. He has an opportunity to do that. I think the party needs to continue to make the case, Jim, about why the American people aren't satisfied after the past 4 years.
But to have Lindsey Graham say Joe Biden is the felon, I think the felon in this election is Biden. That is.
Well, Jim, look, if you're asking me as a strategist, if that is what I would advise
like
the message to be, I can assure you that would not be the message that I would advise. Again, I think the message that I would advise to the party.
This is going to be tough, though. I think the issue is that this is. I don't know if we've fully absorbed, or the public has fully absorbed, or our body politic, our system of this has fully absorbed. One of the candidates is a convicted felon, and is just going to be one.
Well, look, Jim, I don't think the party should focus on what we just saw in that clip with Senator Graham. I think the message to the American people should be, are you satisfied over the past 4 years economically? Are you satisfied about the state of immigration? Are you satisfied about the potential foreign conflicts in the future potentially come with aggressions from Russia, aggressions from China? I think the answer for the average American voter is no. That should be what Republicans are talking about.
There's also a reason why Joe Biden is running a $50 million ad telling everybody he's a felon, because it works.
Yeah.
That's why he's doing it. He wouldn't be doing it if it didn't work.
Well, yeah, it works because it does enable Democrats not to focus on the issues that I just mentioned.
Trump tried to clean up some of his comments that he made about Milwaukee last week when sources say he called the host city for the RNC, quote, horrible.
I love Milwaukee. I was the one that picked Milwaukee, I have to tell you. I was the one that picked it. These lying people that they say, oh, he doesn't like Milwaukee. I love Milwaukee. I said, you got to fix the crime. We all know that. You got to make sure the election's honest. But I'm the one that picked Milwaukee.
He said it, clean up on aisle 6, I guess. And this is, according to the New York Times, the New York Times reporting Trump will now stay in Milwaukee for the convention. After initially planning to stay in Chicago, Trump apparently was going to stay in Chicago during the convention. I mean, these are not positive things for winning a swing state like Wisconsin. They remember in places like Wisconsin.
It's good to clean up earlier versus later, Jim. Look, Wisconsin is a very important state. It's a state that the former president lost by 22,000 votes. It's going to be, I would argue, a key state in order for him to potentially return to the White House. I mean, I think the campaign has to have a battleground state strategy. You're looking at Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, and maybe you want to play hard in Pennsylvania, potentially Michigan. But you cannot win if you're Trump without winning potentially Wisconsin. So I'm glad he's staying there. I think he's recognizing that I need to do a little cleanup and make this up to the potential voters.
A little bit, yeah. And today, Chuck, I do want to talk about this. Trump was encouraging his supporters to vote early by mail. or vote early in general. That's a complete reversal from the past. I covered him at the White House when he was trashing early voting and vote by mail, accusing Democrats of harvesting and so on. Let's listen to Trump now.
She said, once you get rid of the mail-in voting, mail-in voting is largely corrupt. If you have mail-in voting, you automatically have fraud. If you have
well, there's mail-in voting in Florida,
That's
and you
right.
won huge.
That's right. If you have it, you're going to have fraud.
But you.
Now he's saying he wants his supporters to do it. I mean, what do you think?
He needs it to win, and that's what they've all realized. And he's got some adults running this year going, look, we can't have any more of this stuff if you want to win states where there's a big mail-in ballot like Arizona and Nevada and all of these states that he has to have in Georgia. Mail-in is a big part of it. There's a lot of senior citizens that he is counting on that vote by mail that are permanent absentee voters is what we say. Yeah. And that's like money in the bank to us political consultants because they vote every election.